We're standing inside Notre Dame Cathedral right now, looking up at a statue of Mary holding the Christ child. The figure number for this is 1327 in our textbook. It is an example of the way in which, and a continuation of what we already saw in the stained glass window, the rose window, of the way in which religion, in the late Gothic period especially, is brought down more and more to earth and made more approachable and depicted more and more in human terms and in a more loving way. We do have Mary standing with her child. She is still depicted as the Queen of Heaven, so she's certainly special. And this is almost certainly also a kind of nod to the royals who would have been contributing to the upkeep and payment of the Church of Notre Dame. So there's often a parallel between religious figures and secular figures. But if we get beyond the idea of Mary as a queenly figure and start to think of her as a mother, this begins to reveal the new warmth and love that is a part of the Gothic period. Okay, what's Mom doing? Well, she's doing what a lot of mothers do. She's jutting out her hip to use it as a way to prop up the baby that she's holding. That baby also is behaving like real babies do. He's kind of playing with Mom's clothing. You know, he's reaching out in space. He's curious. He's interacting with Mom. And she looks in his direction in a loving way. The only hint that this is Jesus and that he has a mission to fulfill is the fruit that he is holding. So we do know that he is born a human with the mission, his essential destiny, to be crucified, to make up for the sin of Adam and Eve, but especially of Adam. And that's what the fruit is symbolizing. Okay, going back to the figure of Mary, she is very courtly and very elegant. There is a curving sway to her body that makes this very decorative. It's ornamental. And what you're looking at is actually referred to a couple ways, but I'm going to refer to it as the courtly style, which is the kind of late Gothic style. And it is a style that was created to be particularly appealing to members of the court because they could look at this and they could easily relate to this. I'd also like us to take away from this that it is definitely an image of a mother taking care of, in a loving way, taking care of her child, bringing religion down to earth for us. Okay, in addition to that, it helps to show us something else. This statue is freestanding. In the Middle Ages, there was no large-scale freestanding sculpture. For a long time, we had nothing that was big and freestanding, nothing at all. When sculpture emerges again, large in size, it is going to be like the carvings we saw at Autun, attached to a church. And let me give us a sample of another one. Okay, this is the prophet on the left, which comes to us from Mossack. It is Romanesque, and it is compared to the Virgin of Notre Dame. Our prophet from the Romanesque period is really brilliantly created, but he's totally dependent on the piece of architecture to which he is attached. He's really a relief carving. He's not moving in space, and he's not independent. He also is created with really crazy proportions and a pose that in no way is naturalistic. By the time we get to the Gothic, although our artists still do not have a complete understanding of human anatomy, there's no way of finding where Mary's body really is under that drapery and making it work. Nevertheless, we're moving in the direction of naturalism, and we are bringing religious images down to earth. One of the ways of doing that is to create fully in the round, three-dimensional, and therefore much more lifelike work that we could actually move around. Now, the Virgin of Notre Dame that we're looking at isn't quite there yet, but boy, is it close. It is not a life-size figure, but it is a large figure. I'm going to estimate it comes in around 4 feet. I'm sorry I don't have the exact height of it. It is grand in scale compared to everything we've seen before, much more naturalistic, and it is completely carved in the round. This is a tradition of the Gothic, so let me show you a couple more. Now these are smaller in scale, but they do exactly the same thing. They are images of Mary holding her child in a very loving way. We get a little hip action here as she moves her hip out in an elegant swaying curve. But that curving form of the body reflects the way a mom would actually hold her kid. And in all of these samples, I've got 2 separate ones for you here. The one on the left is carved in ivory. The child is energized and moving and behaving in a very human, childlike way. The one on the left also has a real crown that was placed on the head. These are both relatively small in scale still, but completely freestanding and following the same pattern as the Virgin of Notre Dame. The one that is in the center and the detail on the right, you do have a Smart History video of, so please take a look at that. This is an example, same pattern, we're following exactly the same idea, and that means freestanding sculpture. This particular object was actually created for the Queen of France.